Brian Slagel from Metal Blade Records, and you're listening to the FANTASM Podcast.
Corey Gorchrist, Dr. Vincent West here with the man, the founder and CEO of Metal Blade Records, Brian Slagel. How you doing, man?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. We're very excited. We're here to promote For the Sake of Heaviness, the history of Metal Blade Records. Looks awesome. I really love the pre-order package here because you got the cassette that comes with it. That's really nice. It's also the 34th anniversary today of Kill 'Em All, which is amazing.
Insane.
So let's just get right to it.
Brian, I wanted to I know you're a big Thin Lizzy fan.
Yes.
And I wanted to thank you. I remember when you put several of the records out remastered on CD for the first time, and I thought that was so cool. I've still got those, actually.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I actually prefer the sound on those as I do to the deluxe editions that they put out, those imports.
Well, thank you so much. We spent a lot of time trying to make them sound good, so
they're
it's great.
really, really nice. Wanted to kind of talk to you real quick for a sec. You seem to have a wonderful relationship with King Diamond / Merciful Fate, Cannibal Corpse, Armored Saint, Fate's Warning. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. It's just so amazing to have that catalog and to have it for the length of time that you have. I think that says something great about you.
Yeah, I'm really lucky to, not only work with all these amazing people, but also they're all really good friends of mine. So it's always a good thing to be able to work with your friends, and hopefully, I think that's vice versa on their part. So that helps, keep it going for a long period of time, because it's not just about the business end of things. It's also, you get to work with good friends of yours too.
That's wonderful. Awesome. That's very wonderful. Wanted to ask you real quick, do you want to talk a little bit about how you got into the music industry?
Yeah, sure. So I was by mistake, really, but I was just a kid, 20 years old. I was obsessed with the new wave of British heavy metal in LA, and I got lucky enough to. I started a fanzine first of all, actually the first ever U.S. fanzine, the New Heavy Metal Review, REVUE. I don't know why, but we did it that way. And then I started working in a record store and doing a bunch of other things, doing some local shows and helping the local radio station out. And there's this scene in LA that was happening that nobody really knew about. This is, a million years ago, before anybody, there was internet or anything.
Right.
So, there was this great scene happening in LA with, Motley Crue, Rad, and a bunch of other bands, and no one cared. There was no coverage of it. There were no labels that cared about it. There was really nothing, and I felt like if somebody didn't do something, it might just go away. So I kind of got the idea, working in the record store, to put together a compilation album of the local LA heavy metal bands, and I asked the distributors who I worked with at the store if they'd carry it, and they said sure. So I went about putting this album out, and that came out, and I had no money. I barely got enough money to manufacture 2,500 copies. It came out and did all right, and one of the distributors said, hey, we know you don't have any money, but you seem like you kind of know what you're doing. We'll give you a pressing and distribution deal, which means we'll pay for all the manufacturing if you just bring us stuff. So I set about trying to find bands that could somehow record something and put it out.
It's awesome, man.
That's really, it's fascinating to me. I've been a fan of your label for so long. I feel like I grew up with it.
That's awesome.
I wanted to talk to you something just this super quick about this, because I was always curious about this. On the Fates Warning album, Parallels, I remember when I initially bought that, it was you grouped up with Warner Reprise, and I remember it said that it was done in Q Sound.
Yeah, I think that was one of those. There was all these different things going on back there with these old sounds, and even that was predating the whole surround sound thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we did that record with Terry Brown, who did all the Rush records up in Toronto, which was amazing,
awesome.
by the way.
Oh yeah.
And they had some new technology up there that they did everything with, and it just was some, I don't know. It made it sound a little bit better. I'm not that big of a tech guy to explain exactly what it was. And they told me what it was, and I still was like, all right, well, whatever. But it sounded cool at the time, so.
Right.
That record, I still have my original pressing, the Warner Reprise of the CD. I also have the 3D Deluxe that you put out as well. But I love the sound on that, man. That thing still sounds good without any kind of remastering. I was always fascinated with that. Something I just always wanted to ask you as a fan.
Yeah, that definitely would be a better question for Terry Brown, who was, like I said, a legendary guy, and for us to be able to work with him on a couple records, and an amazing guy too. Such a cool, really great music guy, and he did a phenomenal job on that record. We spent, the band was up there for 6-7 weeks, and I was up there for a while too, and it was a really great experience doing it. And I think that was just some technology that they had that just made everything sound better. So
I just wanted to thank you for that. It's one of my favorite records.
Awesome.
I still love it. Talking about something else, kind of just same kind of thing. It's a little different here. Wanted to talk to you about which I bought both, the censored covers of the Cannibal Corpse releases back in the day.
Yes.
Man, those were cool too. I liked having both. I thought it was cool because you could, you've got the uncensored and then you've got the censored artwork, which I personally find to be highly collectible. I like
especially
having both.
Too, in the mutilated. Alternate artwork was actually really, really creepy, and it was fun too. So.
Yeah, we kind of were forced to do those sort of things because of, it kind of started with PMRC and all that nonsense, and then there was just a lot of record stores that wouldn't bring in anything that was really extreme. And at that point, it's kind of funny to look back at it now, and it's still extreme, but there's so much other stuff that's come out since then. You're like, really?
Right.
So we tried to make the alternate versions of the edited versions, whatever. At least make them kind of cool, so it wasn't just putting out some record that we got to do 2 covers, so we'll just do something kind of dumb. So we tried to make them look good. So but it's funny though. In every one of those records we did, the uncensored so much outsold the censored. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Oh sure.
People feel like they're a part of something that's
Well, and the funny thing is, too, a lot of the stores at first brought in only the uncensored. Eventually, because there was so much demand for the uncensored, would bring in the uncensored. So, why did you make us do this in the first place?
Right. You were offended, but not offended. Wanted to ask you your relationship with King Diamond.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So I was a massive Merciful Fate fan. I went to England in 1983 with a friend of mine, and we kind of traipsed all around England, buying up the last of the New Wave of British Heavy Metal records and seeing some shows. And
awesome.
One of my friends over there had gotten the original Merciful Fate cassette demo tape and gave it to us, and it was amazing. And at the very end of that trip, we completely spent all our money on records and everything, so we had 0 money left. So we we had to get we stayed at a hostel for like 3 or 4 days in London, and we had enough money to like buy a loaf of bread and some cheese, and it was a bed and breakfast, so we ate as much as we could in the morning to kind of have it. And all we had was a little tiny terrible cassette player, and that was the only cassette we had. So I think we just listened to that demo over and over 1,000 times that whole stuff in London, and each time it got better and heavier. So I've been a fan since day one, and I was lucky enough to meet him. I went and saw King Diamond, Merciful Fate when they came down. One time they came to LA in the early days, and I didn't actually meet King, but I met Hank and a couple of the other guys briefly, because I had known them because we tried to get Merciful Fate on the original Metal Massacre album, and I was talking to the manager they had at the time, and it didn't work out because they ended up signing that deal for the Nuns Have No Fun EP right before that, so it didn't happen. So they knew who I was, and I knew who they were, so I met them briefly there, but it wasn't really until I think the first King Diamond actual tour that I went to San Antonio to see them play, and kind of hung with King for the first time for a while. And just a really great guy, a really great music guy. We kind of started talking then, and we just became friends over the years. And then when he was a free agent, we ended up signing him to the label. And it's really kind of crazy, but over all these years, become really, really close friends where we, hung out. Him and his wife, and my wife and I would hang out all the time, and I've been to his house countless times, and just he's a really, really, really great guy, and it's a lot of fun not only to work with him, but he's a great friend as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, and he hasn't missed a beat either. I mean, he's still kicking ass, and it's really nice to watch. He's been doing those tours.
Big time. Wait till you see all this stuff coming out soon. It's going to be awesome.
Oh,
yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, that's great. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because first of all, I'm a huge Goat Horror fan, and thank you for signing them. I love that band.
Yeah, they're
awesome. Cool.
Friends of ours too.
They are very good. We pleasure of interviewing those cats back in May. It was very cool, but I wanted to thank you for, and I love, as a fan, I wanted to thank you for the mail order only packaging for Vengeful Ascension.
Cool. Yeah, we always try to do something different. Those guys are great guys. They're super easy to work with.
Oh yeah.
Love them to death.
They're a fun bunch, especially the later it gets into the night. They're very...
yeah.
Oh, yes. Sammy will force you to drink.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Do you want to talk a little bit about your relationship with Metallica?
Sure. So I was 18 and Lars was 16. I met him at a Michael Schenker show in LA, and we just became friends. He had just moved from Denmark to LA and didn't know anybody. He was a big fan of the new wave of British heavy metal, as was I, so we became really good friends, and we drive hours on end to record stores trying to find the one or two singles that we might be able to get there. And we used to listen to music because he had come to LA, like I said, not knowing anybody and not expecting anybody in LA would have any clue as to what was going on over in Europe. And here I was, and my friend John as well. We were all three into it, so we became really good friends. And I said, talk about all this in the book as well, but he had a drum set that was like not even put together, just laying in the corner of his room. He's like, I'm going to start a band. We're like, yeah, sure, right, yeah, sure you are, Lars. whatever. And as time went on, I got started working at the record store and decided to put this compilation album out. And he called me up and said, hey, if I put together a band, can I be in your album? I'm like, sure, why not? And that ended up being this band called Metallica that has had a slight bit of success over all this year.
Just a little bit of a success.
Just a little bit. But I've remained really good friends with all those guys forever. Lars and I, a lot of times we'll hang out and we'll revert to the 18 and 16-year-old kids talking about how great this band is or that band is or whatever. So it's been pretty insane. I mean, obviously we've been on our journey, but it's been pretty insane to watch them through their journey as well.
Sure.
I mean, none of us in a million years would have ever thought back then when we first were hanging out that any of this is even possibly could happen. It's really is, when you sit down and think about it, pretty mind blowing.
Yeah, it's surreal. It has to be for you. Yeah. I want to talk to you about because I was curious about this. I've always been curious about this. Do you still look for bands when you hear a new band, do you approach them, or do you send people to approach them, or are you still involved doing things like that with the label?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that's probably the most exciting thing that I get to do and kind of goes back to the core of why I even started the label in the first place, is trying to find good bands and turn people onto them.
That's awesome.
To this day, absolutely, and it's a little bit different. Like, I don't go out to clubs as much as I used to, and I just don't have time. And it's a whole different avenue with what's going on with the internet now. Where usually somebody I know will say, "Hey, I heard this band the other day. Check it out," and I'll check it out. Then if it's good, then either I'll reach out to them directly, or somebody in the company will. Like, if it's in Europe, we'll have our sometimes we'll have our European company. But we just the other day. A couple weeks ago, actually, one of the agents that we work with turned me on this really amazing band and said, "Hey, you should check this out." I listened to it. I thought, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." He gave me the contact info, so I just basically went straight to the guy and said, "I love the band. Let's do something together." And we put it together. So it's not quite done yet, so I can't tell you what it is, but it's pretty close to doing that. So yeah, I mean, that stuff happens still all the time, and that's super fun for me because that's ultimately what I love to do, is like seeing a band or hearing a band for the first time that nobody knows about, and then hopefully being able to help them to where a lot of people know about them. Like, that was the situation with Ghost, where the label we were distributing, Rise Above, sent me a bunch of CDs that they were putting out. We were distributing them in the U.S., and one of them being Ghost. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" I immediately called them and said, "This is phenomenal." And they're like, "Yeah, some project band from these guys and other bands." I go, no, this is like insanely amazing. This is going to be huge. Like, really?
Yeah.
I go, yes, I swear it is. This is phenomenal. And they're doing all right now.
Oh, yeah, they are. There's people I know don't even like, extreme music or just like that thematic element of music at all, and they love Ghosts. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy how it's been working out for them. So.
Well, it's kind of surreal. I saw them here in New York City over the weekend, opening for Iron Maiden. I saw a bunch of those shows, but it still was amazing seeing them do that. So that's awesome.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's great. They're out with all kinds of folks.
Now, we always try to do like an album of the month or something like that, trying to throw new albums out at people to see their opinions on it. What's your favorite record right now? It doesn't even have to be a Metal Blade record, just something that you're actually been listening to if you have the time.
Well, strangely enough, it kind of goes back and forth. And I still go back a lot of times and listen to classic stuff. I'll go through bouts of Rainbow Rising or Sabotage by Black Sabbath. But
of course, yeah.
I kind of went back to because I've seen Maiden now in the last couple of weeks like 3 or 4 times. So I went back to the new Maiden album, The Book of Souls, which I really love.
Yeah.
When it first came out, I think this is the best record they've done since Bruce has been back in the band. Since he came back after he left after. What was the record? I always forget the record after Seven Son of Seven. But anyway, I think it's probably the best record they've done since Seven.
No Prayer for the Dying.
No Prayer for the Dying.
Yeah, No Prayer for the Dying. So I love that record, and the Red and Black is amazing. So since I've been seeing him play live, I kind of got back. I hadn't listened to it for a while, so I kind of got sucked back into listening to that a lot lately. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been listening to Kill by Cannibal Corpse, which is I don't know. Going back now and listening to that again, I just really love that record too. It's a kick-ass record.
Yeah, I haven't been listening to as much other music that I want to because I've been listening to Cannibal Corpse and Black Dahlia Murder mixes and masterings and all this stuff, trying to get those records done. So, unfortunately, when I get stuck into that, it's hard to listen to a lot of other stuff.
Right.
But both are really good, so hopefully
awesome. Which is they just finished wrapping that up. They announced that tour yesterday.
Yeah.
So that'll be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we just pretty much, I think, as of today, pretty much just figured out the mastering. So
amazing.
They did that with Eric. Is that right?
Yeah, Eric Rutan. Yeah, they really wanted to get a really kind of super heavy guitar tone, and I think we got it. Hopefully, so
awesome.
If he's behind the board, he's amazing. I mean, that's. To me, and I kind of talk to you about this real quick. To me, he's the modern day Scott Burns.
Yeah, he certainly does a lot of great stuff, and he's done a lot of really good stuff for us. And the fact that he's a musician certainly helps do it too, because he knows he can help those guys make sure that they're playing everything right. They get the tone, especially a guitar tone. That's really important for that. And since he's an amazing musician. Makes sense, but he's done a great job. He's got a really nice studio down in right outside of Tampa there. So
the prime real estate.
Made it easier for Cannibal to record there. That's for sure.
Yeah, And even with his vocals, I've noticed he's brought out a lot of new vocal styles, like with Ben from Goatwhore and Helmuth from Belphegor. You know, their vocals change going through him, and they sound better, I think, you know.
Yep, no, he's really great at that. I mean, this, you know, even this Cannibal record. I mean, every Cannibal record he's done a great job with George. And, yeah, we're all really happy with the new one. It's a little bit, you know, you always try to be a little bit different. I think this is a little bit more kind of old school sounding, maybe. So,
right.
But anyway,
we're always excited for the artwork. We always get ready for that one. You know,
good old Vince Locke.
Yeah, the unveiling. It's like picking up a new comic book, and you're like, oh, the cover's amazing this month. So, you know.
Exactly.
Did you have a good relationship with Scott Burns? Did you guys?
Oh my gosh, yes! I loved working with Scott. Scott was, because obviously he did a bunch of stuff for us, and then we got to work together on a couple of those 6 Feet Under records. So,
sure.
But being in the studio with him, he's such a great guy, like a really, really good guy, an incredibly smart, amazing engineer. So
awesome.
Yeah, I love him. In fact, he kind of left the business for a while, and I ran into him a couple years ago at I think it was it was Behemoth. Who else was Cannibal? Yeah, Behemoth Cannibal tour in Tampa. And I'd seen him for years, and it was so great to see him again and hang. I was like, all these other people were trying to hang out. I go, no, I only want to talk to Scott Burns. Leave me alone.
That's great.
But yeah, he was and still is a really great fit.
Awesome. Yeah, we always get into the Scott Burns discussion. You know, we love that dude and all his work. He did so much shit for you know, metal and.
Oh man, yeah, he was the guy. I mean, that scene, you know, probably would. I mean, any of those scenes, you got to have somebody that understands it to make it sound good. And he was the guy that made all that stuff sound really, really good.
And speaking of Chris, we had him on not too long ago, and he's such a down to earth dude. You know, we speak very highly of Chris on here. You know, we still we love him to death. So, what was your relationship with Chris? Do you guys still have a good relationship? You know, 6 Feet Under and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've known him for forever. We were talking a while ago. It's been he told me how many years. It's some insane amount of years ago. Don't tell me that. So yeah, it's always had a good relationship with him. And he, you know, it's unfortunately I haven't seen him a lot lately because he moved up to Seattle.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously when he was in Tampa, because I had a place in Tampa because we had so many bands there, we would hang out all the time.
Yeah.
In Tampa, but he's up in Seattle, so I haven't seen him nearly as much. We keep talking about like trying to, you know, he either going to go up there, he's going to come down to me, or one of these days we'll hang. But he's a super great guy, and we've worked with him for forever and ever on, you know, obviously both Cannibal and
right.
6 Feet. So
there's a really funny video that he did. It was with him and Kelly, and if I'm not mistaken, it was a Metal Blade video where they're sitting by a pool and they're just talking about like horror movies, and it's really funny.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was in Tampa. Yeah, I remember that.
We would watch that all the time just to have fun with it.
Brian, are you a horror fan at all? We do horror as well as death metal on this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm more old school guy.
That's what we are. We would love to hear you talk about that, sir.
Yeah, I mean, Dawn of the Dead to me is the greatest horror movie of all time. It probably been my top 2 or 3 movies ever. And you know, anything obviously just passed away.
Yeah, it's
Romero. I mean, Evil Dead, Night of the Living Dead.
You know, a Dawn of the Dead reunion there, and then you know, he canceled. We found out about the health thing, and it's like, shit, that doesn't sound very good. And then, you know, so that's very hard loss. You know, honestly. For horror fans everywhere.
Just terrible. I mean, it's you know, what a legendary guy.
Yeah.
You know, I go back to you're the name of your podcast here is one of my all-time favorite movies. Of course, you're not spelling it correctly, but Fantasm.
Yeah. Well, that's on purpose, you know.
Yeah, we did that so we don't have Mr. Coscarelli send us a check, a lawyer bill.
No, that's our favorite movie. You know, at least mine. That's why we named it that way. Yeah. Yeah, Phantasm's definitely.
Yeah, I'm a big Tom Savini fan. I'm actually involved. If it ever gets finished, they're doing a remake of Nightmare City, the original movie that came out in the 80s. So he's doing a remake of it that we're kind of a bit of a part of. And I was a part of the last Rob Zombie movie, 31.
Yeah. It's actually really good. That's probably the best movie he's done in a long time.
Yeah, we liked it.
I can't say I'm a massive Rob Zombie
We aren't.
fan. Like, I'm not really into the new school of, Saw and all this sort of torture or whatever. I like the old school stuff, but that was kind of a bit of a throwback splatter movie, kind of. So I liked it. I thought it came out pretty well for what it was. Yeah,
because we do mainly, I think it's kind of weird, the correlation between extreme music and horror. I mean, obviously it's like, bread and butter, but...
Oh, big time.
The resurgence of old school horror movies through Blu-ray restoration, it goes hand in hand with how extreme music's kind of coming back too. It's like almost with like vinyl, maybe. I don't know how it's coming. It's just happening. Everything is going backwards in a positive way,
Well, good. Maybe you can answer a question for me. So one of my all-time favorite underground horror movies was Dr. Butcher, M.D.
I actually just bought that the other day on Blu-ray, with Zombie Holocaust. Yeah,
awesome. I got it. Yeah, we used to watch that back in the early '80s. We used to have all the metal bands would come over, like Lizzie Borden, Bitch, Metallica, Armored Saint, Savage Grace. Everybody, we'd all come over and have movie nights, and that was one of our favorite ones we go back to.
It's awesome.
I definitely got to go out and buy that for sure.
Oh yeah, if you get the first, was it 3,000 or 5,000 copies, you get like a barf bag that comes with it. I think Severin put it out, so it's definitely go check them out. They got some other good titles on there as well.
Awesome, I love it. Cool.
If you're a Reanimator fan, Arrow's about to put a super deluxe edition of the first Reanimator out.
Phenomenal movie as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, that's where I got my name from. Vincent Price, and then West is from Herbert West.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. That's where it came from.
All that old school stuff is so good.
Yeah, it's great. We've got Bruce Campbell coming on in October, which I'm I'm not even supposed to talk about it, but yeah, I'm freaking out about it. So.
Yeah, I've become pretty good friends with Adam Green and Joe Lynch. Adam did all the Hatchet movies.
Yeah, the Hatchet movies, yeah.
Yeah, they're huge metal guys, too. So.
Awesome.
And we'd love to have them on. That would be awesome. Corey, we're supposed to have Kane Hodder on at some point. So
nice.
We get those cats, too. That'd be amazing. Yeah, It's like Corey was saying. I think all of it just goes hand in hand. And as a kid growing up, I'm in my 40s, and it's like growing up, all the horror stuff, and then when death metal came out, I was just in heaven.
Oh yeah,
I was like 15, 16 years old. It's like,
especially when you got the Cannibal Corpse covers and stuff like that. It's like straight out of the Creep Show or something.
Oh, it's great.
Like, yeah, man, this is awesome.
Exactly. We're all into that.
What was the first horror movie that you saw?
I think it was actually The Exorcist.
No, that was mine too. Yeah. Mine too. Yeah.
I think that kind of started everything.
When it first came out, it was pretty disturbing. But,
yeah,
I loved it.
Made me pee my nightgown too.
And we actually did the. Although it's embarrassing to say, but we did the soundtrack for unfortunately the worst of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, Freddy's Dead, which I don't even think is out on DVD at this point.
Yeah. It's an older one.
Soundtrack for that, which still was fun to do, but yeah, it's the worst one. So.
Now, talk to you about this real quick. The Enigma pairing with that stuff. How did that happen?
Well, that was the distributor that initially came to me when I brought out the Metal Massacre. They were called Green World, and they eventually morphed into Enigma. So we were just with them really from the beginning until Enigma kind of blew up and went bankrupt.
Wow.
I remember buying the Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 CD. I still have that.
Nice. I love it.
It's classic shit.
Anyway. Oh, yeah. The Death Angel song, the Laws Rocket tune, and all that. Yeah.
Yep.
Some good stuff. So we'll talk about your book, and let's talk about how our listeners can pick up a copy of that.
So it's right now the pre-order is on. Go to metalblade.com and you can find the pre-order there, and you can order from us there. And then obviously the usual suspects: Amazon, iTunes, all the digital versions. Obviously order the print book on Amazon as well. It's through BMG Books, so BMG owns Random House and Penguin, so they're like one of the bigger, if not the biggest book distributor. So BMG is doing this music division, which is where our book is coming out through. So
awesome.
Should be able to find it all the local bookstores. If any of the metal record stores or your local record stores have books, it should be in there. So should be pretty readily available. And I guess the audiobook, they told me the audiobook comes out later. So the audiobook will be sometime next year, I guess.
Now, will you be doing the audiobook reading as well?
I suppose suppose so, because the book's kind of in my, most of the book is in my, from my perspective, so I guess I'm going to have to, but I'm going to bring in somebody really cool to do, because we have interviews with bands and,
awesome,
other people talking, different bands and, people from the label and stuff, so I'll get somebody good to read that part, so you don't get bored of hearing me.
And get John Bush to do it.
Yeah.
He's at the top of my list.
He's got the voiceover work.
We had him on earlier this year, and we were talking to him about the Burger King job. And all that. I think it's awesome.
It is awesome.
No, he's at the top of the list because that's what he does. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's the man.
Yep, exactly.
That's exciting. We'll definitely have to look for the book and get that picked up. And
we're happy to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Metal Blade with you. Being fans listening to it still to this day, and it's just gonna keep fucking going, man. I can't thank you enough for all the hard work you do and you continue to do, and just making us feel like we're part of something. It's really nice, and just want to personally thank you as a fan for doing that for us.
Thanks so much. I appreciate your support. I mean, if not for you guys and everybody else out there supporting it, we can't do it. So thank you too.
Well, we try to definitely do that, and all the great bands you have on the label, and all your support that helps make our podcast a reality too. So thank you for that as well.
Awesome. No worries, man. Thanks.
Awesome.
Hi, this is Brian Slagel from Metal Blade Records, and you're listening to the FANTASM Podcast.
Oh, it was perfect.
Awesome.
Brian, this has been an absolute honor, sir.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Cannot thank you enough.
And one more thing, how do you think the Kings are going to do next year?
I don't know. I mean, they got a good core of as long as everybody's healthy, Daddy Kopitar and Quick coming back. But I don't know, they're just not that deep. So, and unfortunately, Edmonton's going to be better, Calgary's going to be better. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I didn't expect them to win either of those cups, especially the 2012 cups, so you never know. But they're not very deep at this point, so and they don't have a lot of stuff coming up. So
you got Corey's Rangers on that one. Corey's a Rangers fan.
Because I'm from New York, and the doctor here is from Tampa, so he likes the Lightning. So
Lightning are going to be good. They they got really unlucky last year with all the injuries, but I don't think that can happen again. They're going to be good. They signed all the right guys, so they might be kind of fun to watch. And the Rangers, I don't know. The Rangers will be decent, but
they're like the Mets. You expect stuff, and then it just doesn't happen. So you don't. Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun, I think.
I saw where the Lightning had tried to get Joe Thornton. I know you all had talked to Joe Thornton, and then he goes back to the Sharks for a year.
Yeah, I don't know that he would have made any sense in the Lightning. I think they've got you have enough forwards there. If anything, you need a little help on defense, but I think the Lightning are going to be good. Eisenman's done a really good job of keeping that core together. Just if they can stay healthy, especially Stamkos, man, that poor guy.
Well, it all started when when Chara ran him into that goalpost a few years ago, and then he came back from that. And then that last year when he fell in Detroit, which Steve Ott sort of had a hand in that, but they say he didn't, but he did. And then, but you're right. It's like he had that blood clot issue, and it's
broke his leg and the whole thing.
Yeah, man, it's.
If he can stay healthy, they'll be good.
Oh, I love him. If again, like you said, though, to stay healthy. But
unfortunately, I got my next one coming up. So
Brian, thank you, man. Thank you for everything. We didn't mean to keep you.
No worries, all good. Okay. I can't start to talk hockey. I can't stop.
I just want to throw it in there. I know you're a huge hockey nut, so we are too. But yeah, congratulations on the 35th anniversary of Metal Blade. Keep it fucking going. Congratulations on the book. We can't wait to read it, and we'll continue to plug it on here for you. And thanks for everything, man. It's been an honor.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Take care,
guys.
Have a good one.
All right, take care.
It's from Butcher to Birth. Cover